Is Gabriella Wong, and I am so honored to be here with you all today to talk about my journey as a female entrepreneur and to talk to all of you amazing entrepreneurs out there on how to start a tech nonprofit. So here's a brief outline of what I'm going to discuss today. And keep in mind that I'm going to be weaving in my own personal journey as a founder because I personally learn best by learning from examples. And I want to share what I learned on my path to starting a tech nonprofit. So I want to discuss some questions, these 3 questions. Starting a tech nonprofit, is it right for you? How do you get this started? And how do you keep this going? How do you keep it sustainable? So why am I qualified to talk to you about starting a tech nonprofit? Some background on me. I'm proud to say that I am an entrepreneur. I founded a tech nonprofit called AccesSOS, and I have an incredible team of 15 amazing human beings, product designer, UX researcher, amazing interns, engineers, volunteers, and we fight to make emergency help accessible. For any emergency, 911 is our go-to phone call, except for the millions of Americans and Canadians that cannot hear or speak out loud for help. So the core fundamental solution that we build is a free mobile-based web app that instantly translates text to a 911 phone call with all the relevant information in real time, at scale, and it's available in multiple languages. What is tech and what is nonprofit? And why are we going down this path? And I want you to think about what is the problem that you are trying to fix that markets won't touch. And I'm gonna weave my story into this. So I call this the problem first approach. So before starting your tech nonprofit journey, or just your founder's journey in general, think about what is the problem and what is the solution you're trying to build. Is it an underserved market? Is there market failure in this? And then I want you to think about, are you building a solution first, or are you building a solution with profit-driven ideas first? And this will become a little bit clearer when I talk about kind of the path to answering these questions for me, myself. So what is the problem? What are you trying to fix? And I'm gonna give you my personal example of what AccesSOS, what we're trying to fix. So this is a photo of my family, and I know you can't tell from this photo, but both my parents are deaf, and we use American Sign Language to communicate. Here's a video of us singing happy birthday, signing happy birthday to my dad. And so the problem that emerged from my background is that my father had a medical emergency. He had a gallbladder rupture, and he was not able to call and speak to 911 for help. Then I found that there was a severely underserved market. Why couldn't my dad text 911 for help? And what I found was that 911 is built on a legacy system of landlines. And so upgrading that equipment to accept text to 911 would roughly happen in about 10 years. So roughly 2030, 2031. Currently, the problem is that 60% of 911 call centers in the United States do not accept text to 911. So if my dad was able to text 911 where he lived, everything would be fine. But in 60% of the United States, in 911 call centers, they cannot receive texts at all. And in Canada, they don't have access to text to 911 at all. So on my founder journey, I knew this was a problem and I knew I wanted to fix it. Honestly, I thought about becoming a for-profit company. I had meetings with angel investors and VCs, and in these countless meetings, the thing that came up again and again and again was that collecting this emergency data was going to be very, very valuable for insurance companies, for actuarial purposes, and making a profit off of this return on investment would be something I need to think about when I build my tech solution. Making a revenue, making a profit from these underserved communities like my parents was not in my core belief and not in my core value. And so it became very, very crystal clear that becoming a nonprofit was the right path for AccesSOS. So in my journey, I knew there was a problem. I knew I was going to build technology, something tech, to fix this problem. And lastly, I knew that it was an underserved market and that I wanted to build a solution that would solve the problem first. And so being on this journey, I knew that I was going to start a tech nonprofit. And so first off, how do you start it? Where do you even go? And I remember talking to as many people as I can. Never, never, never stop talking to as many people as you can, because you never know who will help you and help you on this journey, because you can't do this by yourself as much as you might want to. So first off, get the paperwork started. Second, do the prototype. Some people say 3, funding goes before prototype. Some people say prototype goes before funding. For us, we did it in tandem. So, give or take, after the paperwork, build your prototype, also look for funding. And I'll go into that and how we do it at AccesSOS. So paperwork, just some very, very basics. What's the name of your organization? What's your mission? Make a website, because once we made our website, it became very, very crystal clear as to what information we wanted to present. What was our mission? Because we had to put that on there. What was our core values? What did we want to share with our community members about our solution? And file your paperwork. Here's a link to California nonprofits. There's one for each state. Just Google it and get that paperwork started. So first off, prototype. Number 1, talk to your users, talk to your beneficiaries. The more people you talk with, the clearer the direction would be. Also, talk to people in the industry, talk to competitors, talk to people in the same space as you, because they will give you insight and feedback on the feasibility of the solution you are trying to build. And so after we talked to many, many, many people, and the input that we received was that this solution was needed and that it wouldn't just serve the deaf and hard of hearing community, that it would help people with speech disabilities, that it would give access to people with limited English proficiency who aren't able to speak to English speaking dispatchers, and that groups that cannot speak out loud for help, like domestic violence survivors. So I want to talk about prototype. After getting some idea, after talking to your beneficiaries, your users, people in the industry, start just drawing some mock-ups, use PowerPoint, and just sketch out some ideas and talk to your communities, these underserved markets, about your wireframes. See what works, what doesn't, and iterate again and again and again. So you see here on this slide on the left is one of the very first prototypes that we built. And we talked to people, our users, and people in the industry about this. And the feedback we received was that a customized text field that people could just input whatever they want, people didn't know where to start or what to say. And so you see here on the right, now we have a guided menu of options where location automatically pulls up. Medical, police, and fire automatically pulls up. So they just select a menu of options. And so our journey from 2019 on the left to currently right now, and it might even change a week or two from now, or maybe a month from now, but never ever stop talking to your users. Next, I want to talk about funding. You want to be sustainable. You need money to build the prototype. You need money for the engineers and the designers, right? And so I'm going to talk about these different approaches to funding as a tech nonprofit. And I'm going to talk about what works for us. So some examples of funding streams are foundations, high net worth donors, CodeFests, corporate sponsors, individual donors, grants, in-kind donations, accelerators, and incubators. And I'm going to focus on the ones that I didn't really understand when I started my nonprofit journey. So first off, let's talk about in-kind donations. What does that mean? What that means is free products, pro bono services, and volunteers. So I want to give you an example of in-kind donations for AccesSOS. So we get our legal support pro bono through the Thomson Reuters Foundation. And so seek out these pro bono opportunities because there are many, many opportunities for nonprofits. Another example is Google, Twilio, Atlassian, GitHub. Their employees, they help us with our marketing, they help us with design and technical consulting. We also get tools like Notion and Box for free because we are a nonprofit. And the University of San Francisco, the computer science department, they're willing to give interns, really talented computer science interns, to nonprofits that are building a tech solution. And so that's what I mean by in-kind donations. I want to talk about accelerators and incubators. That's another way to get funding and credibility. And so they give you the funding, the training, and the network support that you need to get traction for your tech nonprofit. So for example, we got into the Fast Forward Accelerator specifically for tech nonprofits, and that was a huge game changer for us. It taught us everything we know about fundraising, marketing, PR, boards, and so I highly encourage you to look into these accelerators and incubators. Other examples are Y Combinator for nonprofits, and Uncharted is also an accelerator for nonprofits, tech nonprofits, and using mobile technology. Also, I want to talk about something I didn't know before, corporate sponsors. So the key words when you're trying to find a corporate sponsor that is a right match for you is looking at CSR. So companies with corporate social responsibility, CSR departments or arms. So for example, BlackRock, Google.org, PagerDuty, GitHub, they are our corporate sponsors. And so if you want to know who has CSR departments, look at Pledge 1%. So just Google that and you'll see a list of companies that have these CSR departments that fund nonprofits. Another thing I want to talk about is pitching. Always have a one-liner ready and craft your elevator pitch. So what do you say in this one-liner? First off, talk about your mission and your solution all in one line. So for example, AccesSOS, our one-liner is for any emergency, 911 is the go-to phone call for all of us except for the 37 million Americans who can't hear or speak out loud. So we offer a free mobile-based web app that translates text to a 911 phone call with the relevant information in real time, at scale, in multiple languages. So have this quick, succinct pitch that conveys what you do and your mission all in one line. So I know our time is short. I wish I could tell you more about this journey, but some takeaways that I want you to have in understanding how to start a tech nonprofit is number one, get as many meetings as you can. Believe in yourself. And everything I learned, I found through the Fast Forward Tech Nonprofit Playbook. And so here's the link on number 3. Take a look at ffwd.org/playbook. Everything I learned about starting a tech nonprofit is in this playbook. And some action items that I have for you. Create your community. Starting a nonprofit, being an entrepreneur, being a founder in general, tech nonprofit, tech or not, it's a really, really lonely journey. You can't do it by yourself. Seek out a community that supports you, that will give you feedback, that will be your cheerleaders and give you honest feedback on your solution and your organization. So I recommend starting with this Facebook group, so Tech Nonprofits, the Global Tech Nonprofit Community. They're a great system of support, and you can find people that are doing similar things that you are and will give you the support that you need. So first off, create your community. Find your community. Second, as I said before, read the Tech Nonprofit Playbook. The link is right there. Everything I learned about starting a tech nonprofit, I learned from that playbook. And then number 3, just start your paperwork, dive into it, because the questions that they're going to ask in the paperwork will make clearer your path to what your organization's name is, what your mission is, and what solution you are going to build. And so go ahead, start it, build it. I am so soft-hearted for female entrepreneurs and founders in general. Please contact me anytime and I will give you the feedback and input that you need and to be a friend. So please contact me anytime. Gabriella at AccessSOS.io. That's my email. And here's our website. I want to thank you all so much for listening to me blab today. And I really hope that you dive into this because we need female founders more than ever.